Okay, fellow artists, here we go off into Wonderland again. This time we're going to be painting something similar to this painting. I've gone a little larger here. This is a 5x7, but feel free, you can still keep it small. The size is really up to you. Just definitely keep it kind of petite. So this time we're going to be working with purple and green, and these are some of my very favorite colors. And the composition, as you can see, is kind of lined up down the center. So we'll do the moon in the center, kind of have our mountains crossing, and then we're going to add a few more elements than we did in the last painting. We're going to add a little magical little house where we all want to live. And this time the trees are going to be a little different. We're going to do, they're like what I like to call the trees that we grew in grade school. They're little lollipop trees, very easy to draw. So let's get started with the paint colors that we're going to use. This green is green gold. This is by Daniel Smith. I think there are a couple of other companies that create green gold. I have not tried them, so this is the only one excuse me, this is the only one that I've used, and the only one that I do use. It works so well, I haven't even tried anybody else's. Another color that I absolutely love is Amethyst Genuine, and this is actually created with pure amethysts. So once it dries, it's very hard to see on video, but you actually do get crystals in your painting. I think it's just magical that they can create something with a crystal. So Amethyst Genuine, that one's by Daniel Smith as well. We're still going to use our Phthalo Blue, a little bit of the Permanent Rose, still using the mauve, and we may actually use a little bit of this Phthalo Turquoise. Once again, if you don't have these colors, don't get hung up on having these exact colors. You know, this is really just a contrast between purples and greens. So pull out your purples and your mauves and some of your blues, and pull out your greens and do some tests, do some color sheets, and see how they work together. When you add green and purple together, you actually get kind of a lovely brown, muddy color. So it's kind of fun to see how they contrast each other, and it's fun to do a painting like this because it is such a contrast. So now we will do the drawing. And once again, I'm using my handy dandy circle maker here, and I'm going to use, this is a 1 3/8 circle, and like I said, we're going to go kind of right down the middle. So I'm going to draw in my circle. And mountains again, I kind of come all the way, starting at one side, going down to the other. And then another mountain is going to cross like right in the middle there. Erase this line out because we don't need it. And one more mountain down here. And now for the house, I'm doing it right in the middle as well. This is super simple. Basically, just a rectangle with a triangle on top. Very simple. Your little house can even be crooked. Put in a little door. Put in a little window, and then of course, what would the cutest little house in the world be without a cute little chimney stack, or whatever that's called. So for the trees, like I said, these are like the trees that you drew in grade school. They are just big, giant, fluffy lollipops. So you're just kind of going around in a circle, making these curved shapes, and then the trunks will come down, and we've got another one living right here. And you don't have to worry about drawing in the trunk shape. We'll do that with paint. And then I've also got like these elements of kind of bushes that are living behind here. So we'll draw in a few of those, and they're the same lollipop, big giant fluffy shape. And one of the cool things about this is this contrast of this dark mountain with these really light fluffy, it could either be the tops of trees or maybe some bushes that live back there. So we'll just draw in a few of those. And as you can see, like I have these elements back here. I didn't plan on these. So I don't draw them in. This is something that happens after you paint this mountain. We're going to use a technique where we rub paint off and add these in later. The reason that I draw in these major shapes is because we're actually going to paint around them. So you can see how faded and muted this line of trees is compared to this. And that's because this area was already painted and I lifted paint, added in some of that green color, so now they're kind of muted, whereas these are very bright because we paint around them. And then of course we've got some giant bushes down here in our foreground, and there's a little path that leads to the door of that cute little house. So we've got our drawing in, and now we're ready to paint.